when we have something that's bothering us, we can do two things really. We can put it away consciously with an aware mind, really with the hopes of picking it up later, and sooner the better. So in other words, if somebody broke up with their, let's say broke up with your girlfriend, and you wake up in the morning and that comes to your mind, but you have a really important meeting at work in the morning, you put your problems in the closet for a while, you put it away for a while, and that's emotional repression. We repress the emotions. And so we're doing it knowingly, and then we go to work and we have that meeting, and then we take the rest of the day off and go home and cry or whatever. You know, we come home and we process the emotions. And processing the emotions can be done in a number of ways. It's usually the best to really see them for what they are. But suppression, when we suppress emotions, we do that from a subconscious basis or unconscious or unaware that we are doing it. And a lot of these things come up when we're younger, perhaps, when we're difficulties that we might have as a child. Abandonment, might be an issue or an emotion that we might suppress. And it could be anything. And these are really the dangerous ones. And Scott Killaby, again, who I was listening to today, was talking about this chronic pain that he had for many, many years. And in our society, we look at these pain within the body as a physical problem that we have. You go to a medical doctor and he might give you painkillers, or he might suggest physical therapy or massage or all these different things. But thankfully, in the world of science and spirituality, and just from people knowing more, they're discovering that our bodily pain is not, although it is physical, but it stems from an emotional issue, and generally it comes from suppressed emotions that we've buried. And it took many, many years for this common understanding to come out, and for people to understand this and look at it and see it for what it is. And through scientific research and studies and these types of things, of all types, we could go into this, but we don't have a lot of time to go into it as deep as we could. But there's been a lot of studies done, and they've linked suppressed emotions with diabetes and cancer, all physical ailments, just muscle tension, all the way to severe back problems, and there's of course we can probably understand how digestive issues could be from suppressed emotions, because of the anxiety and the nervousness that these emotions can cause for us. And it's not uncommon for us to say, I have this issue and I have no idea why. And seemingly we might be happy, open, loving people and enjoying life and everything, but yet we have this issue within us. And if we would go back into that, we probably would discover that it's from a suppressed emotion, that we have no idea that it's there. And the reason we don't have any idea that it's there is because it's not in the surface of our consciousness. It's buried. We've all seen that. I've actually seen the posters, and I've seen the pictures online and things of the iceberg, where the 10% of the iceberg sticking out of the water is the consciousness, and then the 80% or 90% of the iceberg underneath the water is the subconscious mind, which is vast and huge. and it records everything that we've ever experienced in this life, and I believe the past lives as well. And so that's a lot of stuff. There are a lot of things there, you know. Through my own experiences, that through insight, generally insight is a recognition of this subconscious content. And that's the whole idea, you know, of the practice. Vipassana, or insight meditation, is to notice these things coming up, and actually noticing is the key, you know, to be able to recognize that this is quite possibly an important message that is coming up for us. And so when we do meditation, it's not like we're going into meditation purposely trying to bring these insights up, but we are going into meditation being aware that insights can come up and that we should recognize these things. Insights, whenever I talk about insights, it's almost like I almost immediately have to say that it's like those aha moments. Aha, you know, when the light bulb goes on, that kind of thing. That's not necessarily an ideal description of it, because it's a little bit more than that, I feel. It's more like a divine intervention in many ways, you know, insight. It's nothing that we're actually looking for. If we were trying to dig up insights, we wouldn't have any luck with it, because it would be a conscious effort. And what we want to do in meditation is completely clean the mind out. I mean, just sit in almost like an energetic blank mind. And the only way we can do that is to let go, continuously letting go, bang, 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 reducing, peeling away the layers of the onions again and again and again, and letting go of anything that we even suspect to be an attachment for us. We get lighter and lighter and lighter, happier and happier and happier, like we were talking last week. And we discover, I mean, we really understand our true nature, because that is our true nature beyond this onion, you know, peeling the layers back and letting go again and again, understanding ourselves to such an extent that there's nothing left to understand, ideally. I mean, going that far. And in that process, insight arises, this understanding. And again, these insights are generally coming from our subconscious mind. The subconscious is something, you know, a term you don't hear in Buddhism. You hear about consciousness and in relation to an awareness, to be aware, or the eye consciousness and the smell consciousness and the hearing consciousness and these separate types of consciousness that reach out into the world and connect with the world. But the subconscious and these types of things are really made popular by Freud, you know, Sigmund Freud. And the idea that we can empty ourselves, be completely, you know, let go, sit in meditation, and just be aware of insight, not trying to create it, just noticing it if it comes up. And this insight can point to the truth for us. And some of the truth can be very, very freeing for us. And I've mentioned this many, many times, but my teacher, one of my teachers, Matthew Flickstein, he, brilliant man, brilliant teacher. But one of his more profound insights was, he said he was meditating, and all of a sudden it came to him for no reason particularly. He was just doing the practice, and the memory came up out of his subconscious that he was sexually abused as a very, very young boy. He had no recollection of it, Nothing that he ever really thought of, ever, except for that moment it came up. He said he looked at it, recognized it, acknowledged it, accepted it, and then he went back into his practice. And he said it cured a lot of things for him. And I think every one of us would be amazed at what could be cured by us recognizing these suppressed emotions. So the subconscious is basically the entire body. There's no really place in the mind that we can say, the frontal cortex is the subconscious, or, some other area of the brain is the subconscious and it holds the subconscious. The subconscious is in the entire body. And that's why when there's a suppressed emotion, it lodges itself someplace within the body. And that's where we can have these difficulties. So if we've ever had a sore shoulder or some kind of an ailment that just comes up out of the blue, we shouldn't disregard the fact that it could be from an emotion, and a hidden past emotion, something that an ailment that we've been carrying around our entire lives. It's not uncommon for somebody to have a discovery of a past, suppressed emotion, just understanding it and seeing it for what it is, and then all of a sudden that ailment being completely gone, never coming up again, just vanishing. And again, everything from respiratory problems to cancer to diabetes, all of these high blood pressure, all of these different things. Because we all know that stress by itself is related to the immune system. And if we carry around something that is stressful in our lives, our immune system can become weak, we become more sickly, or just become sick, period. And these are things that are even more deeply embedded from suppressed emotions. So the invitation here this evening is to recognize these things, to look for these things. And it's not really searching and looking that way. It's being aware that they can come up, that things can happen in our meditation. And it not only in meditation, but in everyday activities, when we're just doing everyday things, we should really be aware that there's messages being downloaded into us from the subconscious. It's happening all the time. And I think too frequently we see these things and we disregard them as something that doesn't have that much meaning because we don't actually understand it. But as meditators, we should become very, very sensitive in a good way, to these things that can come up for us. So I'll like to guide a meditation based on this, based on basically everything I already said. And we'll see how it feels and see how it goes for everyone. So if you'd like to make yourself comfortable, and if you're online, it looks like everybody has their mic off, I believe. And if not, you might want to mute it. Or I can mute it from here, I think. Looks like everybody's muted. I appreciate that. So please make yourself comfortable and close the eyes. Take a nice deep breath of air, feel it all the way within the body. I thank you for spending this time with us this evening and dedicating this time for your practice. Wednesday evening has always been a very special time for me since I started teaching. And the reason being is because it's a time to share. Meditating by ourselves is something that we should all be doing on a daily basis, but it's always nice to be able to share the experience and share mainly the energy with other people, just to kind of remind ourselves that we're not alone in this practice. Some people can practice 50 or 60 years alone and be absolutely fine with it. Others like to get together with the group at least once a week. Some people seek out meditation groups, and that's fine too, as long as it's not a crutch, to depend on others. Meditation is a personal thing and something that is very much related to passing on our last days on earth, really. When we pass from this world to the next, we want to feel confident enough to be with others or be by ourselves. And the meditation is the same way. But it's always nice to be in the companion of others. Do a little bit of a body scan and see if there's any ailments in the body right now. Any stiffness? Any area of the body that has been bothering you for maybe just the last few days? Maybe there's an area of the body or some function of the body that has been bothering you for a number of months, perhaps, or even a few years. We all have aches and pains, things that come and go. These things are very impermanent. But when something remains or comes back again and again, it seems to be a reminder, like it has a message behind it. It could be from an injury, and that injury is a lesson in itself, if we look at it deep enough, understand it, really embrace the message behind it. And many times we just don't understand why there might be a ailment in the body, within the structure or the function of the body somehow. It just doesn't seem to be operating correctly for whatever reason. Or there's a uncomfortableness around something within the body or on the body. See if any of this is true for you. Anything that lingers or has been coming and going for the last few months or even a few years or maybe your entire life. Now, what kind of message might this be telling you? Let's just for a moment assume that there is definitely a message behind it. Let's just say that it is subconscious. In other words, something that happened in the past that is no longer a conscious memory. Something that you're not aware of. Something that happened and it wasn't for whatever reason, meant to be remembered. There's a part of you that told yourself that it's not significant enough or that it hurts to recall this thing, so it's not going to be brought up anymore. Could be something related to your childhood, something that happened that was possibly traumatic, or something that had caused such a problem that it's just much easier to set aside, not think about it anymore. Now, just imagine where that energy goes if it's not processed. It's like it's being held within the body someplace. And it's a scientific fact that if we have an experience and we get upset, let's say we get angry, and we express that anger. We yell at people and we throw things, and that's our way of processing that anger. And the next time it happens, we decide that we're not going to yell, we're not going to throw things, we're going to process it differently. We're going to journal everything that we feel. We're going to maybe write down swear words or whatever it is. We're just going to process it differently. And through scientific research, they find that the body is handling it the same way from the inside. It's as long as it's processed, the body recognizes that processing. And these are from repressed or conscious outlets of emotions, processing of emotion. But if we get angry or fearful or whatever the emotion might be, and we swallow it down, not to let it come back up again, it's being held within somehow. It's not being processed. And likely if that worked, or seemingly worked once for us, that we've done it again and again. And I would venture to say that any unawake being has hundreds, if not thousands, of these suppressed emotions within them, causing all sorts of difficulties that we're unaware of. And so in meditation, again, we have the opportunity to really peel away these layers of the onion. And by letting go of anything that feels like it's an attachment, I feel that eventually we can get into these emotions themselves. That we can get into these suppressed emotions to such an extent that they will free themselves. Make themselves known so that we can stare them straight in the face and be aware of everything that's resting within the body. And one method we can do for this is to just simply, easily, and very lightly go back, into time. We can start when we're younger and just kind of peel back the years, not really looking for anything, not getting stuck on any experience or anything. We're not searching or seeking like we talked about last week. We're just slowly going back into time. And we can do that in several ways. One way is just to pick a date. To go start with like 2000, the year 2000, and then 1999, and just kind of look at these things from a perspective of what happened during that year. Anything traumatic, or what was going on? Where were you? What were you doing? What was the main activity in your life at that time? Who were the people in your lives? What was the main purpose of your life? How is life different now than it was then? And so we just go and peel back the years on your own. We don't have to do this as a group or anything. Just silently count the years backwards and see if anything comes up. You can try this a little bit on your own. And another way to work with these suppressed emotions is to kind of challenge yourself to go back and rest in these areas that might seem a little bit dark for you. And again, we're not trying to dig anything up. We're not trying to bring up any kind of trauma for ourselves or anything. We're just taking kind of a bold look at some of the areas of our lives that we, for some reason, have not really dwelled on before. Now, it's very important as a meditator to always keep yourself focused in one area, and that is your meditation object. So you want to always come back to the breath whenever you notice the mind wandering about. And that's like coming back to square one and starting over again. Otherwise, we're not really meditating. Meditation always has an object for us to stay grounded, to stay centered. More than anything else, meditation is really a centering practice. So we will sit in silence for the next 20 minutes, and you can try a couple of these different techniques. And again, if the mind is wandering, just come back to the breath. Wherever you feel the breath the most in the body or on the body, just come back to that. And the primary practice here is letting go, surrendering. And bring your attention to the breath if it's not there already. Take a nice deep inhalation. Bringing yourself back to the room. And do this a few times. Really get in touch with the breath. And bring your hands together in front of your heart if you like. May each one of us and all beings be well, happy, and peaceful. May no harm come to us. May no difficulties come to us. May we all meet with spiritual and worldly success. May we have the patience, the courage, and the understanding to meet and overcome any problems or difficulties that we might face.